This is the Schwinn Traxion Mountain Bike, and I've been riding it for 8 months. I picked it up as a budget-friendly full suspension option for mixed surfaces near my place, paved paths, neighborhood streets, and the kind of gravel roads you find in parks. I was curious and a little skeptical because the spec sheet is stacked for the price. Aluminum frame, dual suspension, 29-inch wheels, 24-speed Shimano trigger shifters, and mechanical disc brakes. From my experience, the story with this bike is all about where you ride and what you expect. Out of the box, it arrived mostly assembled. I installed the handlebar, front wheel, pedals, and seat post, and checked every bolt. The shifting was surprisingly decent right away, but the brakes took patience. Mechanical discs use cables like a normal brake, not fluid, and they need careful setup to avoid rubbing. I had to adjust them a few times over the first weeks as the cables stretched. If you're new to this, a quick tune at a local shop goes a long way. I also learned to dab a little thread locker on the derailleur limit screws because they wanted to wander, which helped keep the shifting consistent. Key features that stood out over time. The 29-inch wheels roll over cracks and small potholes better than smaller sizes. The 24-speed Shimano trigger shifters are intuitive and clicky. The full suspension does make rough pavement and washboard gravel feel smoother. The mechanical disc brakes work in the rain and are easy to service. The double-wall rims are tougher than the single-wall stuff I've seen on cheaper bikes. The 2.25-inch knobby tires have bite on dirt but feel slow on asphalt. And while the frame is aluminum, the whole bike is about 49 pounds, which you feel on hills and when lifting it onto a rack. On pavement, the Schwinn Traxion is comfortable. The rear shock and front fork soak up the buzz from cracked roads and curb cuts, and I could cruise for miles without feeling beat up. The downside is rolling resistance. Those knobby tires are made for dirt, not speed, so it takes more effort to keep pace on flat stretches. About a month in, I switched to a semi-slick tire with a smooth center and kept the knobby on the front for grip. That small change made neighborhood rides noticeably easier. The saddle is vinyl but surprisingly fine for me. I did swap the stock resin pedals for grippier metal platforms because the originals felt slick in the rain. On light gravel and easy dirt roads, it's at its best. The big wheels and soft suspension take the edge off washboard surfaces and little ruts. The brakes are adequate here, and the gearing gives me options for rolling hills. I'm 5'11", and the 18-inch frame fits me well with minor tweaks to the seat height and handlebar angle. The riding position is upright and relaxed, which is exactly what I wanted for cruising after work or riding with friends. In my opinion, this is the real lane for the Traxion. Comfort-focused rides where speed and technical handling aren't a priority. On actual single track with roots, rocks, and steeper sections, it shows its limits fast. The rear suspension is a simple design without much damping, so it feels bouncy when the terrain gets rough. When you push hard, the bike rebounds like a pogo stick and wastes energy, which people often call pedal bob. The brakes need a firm squeeze on longer or steeper descents, and the power and modulation just aren't there like you'd get from hydraulic discs. The weight becomes a factor too. Climbing feels like a workout before the workout. Cornering hard, I could feel some flex through the back end, which didn't inspire confidence. If your plan is real mountain biking, this isn't the tool for the job. Maintenance over the 8 months has been steady but manageable. The cables stretched early and then settled, so I had to recenter the brake calipers and fine-tune the barrel adjusters on the shifters. I kept the chain clean and lubed, and replaced the stock pedals and later the rear tire to suit my riding. The pivot hardware on the rear suspension needed a retighten once to quiet a squeak, and I've learned to check it every few weeks. Nothing catastrophic, just the kind of upkeep you should expect with a budget full suspension bike. If you're new, derailleur is the part that moves the chain between gears. Keeping it adjusted means smoother shifting and less chain noise. It's worth talking about the weight. At 49 pounds, this bike isn't light, even with an aluminum frame. The frame material helps with corrosion resistance and stiffness in places, but the components and full suspension layout add up. I noticed it most on hills and when lifting the bike into the car. If you're planning a lot of climbing, you'll feel it. As for fit, it's an 18-inch frame with 29-inch wheels, and I'd say the suggested rider height Schwinn gives is realistic. The one-size setup won't suit everyone perfectly, but with a seat post adjustment and a different stem length, you can get comfortable. For me, the cockpit feels relaxed, good for longer casual rides where I'm not pushing the pace. I want to call out what I think this bike is and isn't. It looks like a serious trail machine, but the ride quality and component level tell another story. From my experience, it's perfect for paved paths, bike lanes, park loops, and easy gravel where comfort matters more than speed. It's not made for rocky single-track, drops, or technical climbs. You can try to upgrade parts, but by the time you replace the fork, shock, brakes, and drivetrain, you're better off putting that money toward a decent hardtail from a bike shop. A basic hardtail with a good fork and hydraulic discs will be lighter, safer on real trails, and easier to maintain. I'd recommend this for someone who wants a comfy, forgiving ride for casual outings, light fitness, or commuting on rough streets, and who likes the look of a modern mountain bike. If you're buying your first bike and think you might catch the mountain biking bug, I'd steer you toward a quality hardtail instead. That path will grow with you and give you more confidence on trails. In my opinion, the Schwinn Traxion delivers value if you know the use case. The double wall rims are sturdy, the shifters are friendly for beginners, and the suspension makes rough pavement feel easy. The trade-offs are real: extra weight, brakes that need attention, and a suspension design that's comfortable at mellow speeds, but not built for aggressive riding. Set expectations right, and it's a pleasant way to get outside and roll. In conclusion, I've enjoyed the Traxion for what it does well: comfortable rides on mixed surfaces and laid-back spins on the path. I've also learned its limits and keep it in its lane. If that sounds like your plan, it can be a solid pick. If you're dreaming about technical trails and fast descents, shop for a lighter hardtail with stronger brakes and a better fork. That move will save you time, money, and a few scary moments. I'll leave the details about the Schwinn Traxion Mountain Bike in the comments for you to check out. See you in the next video.